Today at the Crabby Coffee Shop, we do what we were put on this earth to do. Complain, whine, bellyache, and put up a stink. Let's get this over with. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Kenny.
Are you as thrilled to be here as I am?
You know, it's not that here is a bad place. Here is where we can vent about what's outside that door.
That's
and what's outside the door is not great.
At 9 a.m. this morning, I had no idea what we were going to talk about today. And this is, truth be told, we're recording this a day late. Usually we record on Tuesday. It's Wednesday afternoon now. I still didn't have a topic in mind because I was so overwhelmed and beaten down and obsessed with technical computer issues that I seriously couldn't focus on anything else. And then at 9:03, you sent the most loving text I've ever received in my life, proving that we were meant for each other. 3 minutes after, I didn't know what, and you started, "Hey, dummy." I was thinking this afternoon that the one thing I can think of to talk about is that I'm getting a little overwhelmed by technology. I've always embraced technology, but it's getting to the point where I cannot keep up with it, and I'm absolutely irritated when people call me or text me or email me, to which I responded, "Get out of my head." And then we knew at that point, okay, the show's done. We're done doing show prep because the last 2 days of our lives have been so miserable that this is the only thing we can talk about. And mine is all mostly computer related.
Yeah, tell me what happened.
No,
to you.
I want you first. I want you to go first because I'm really curious. Because you, of all people, for as long as I've known you, you have been at the forefront, the cutting edge of all of technology. You're the first person I knew that had one of those iWatch things.
Oh, right.
And everything else, you're always right at the front. What is bugging you?
You know, I think it's first of all, I think it's taking over the world in a way that we sort of anticipated in science fiction.
Right.
But it's literally happening in front of our eyes. But that's really not what's bugging me. I'd love that to be the problem. The problem is, do you remember a time, and this is why I have a problem, because I sound like I'm 100. Do you remember a time when remember when you used to be driving your car and no one could get a hold of you?
It's all I can think of lately.
You were just quietly in your car.
Yeah.
Just driving along. Nobody could talk to you.
So awesome. Yeah.
And I was in a studio yesterday here at the broadcast facility that we work at. My phone, and by the way, junk calls, spam call, phone calls, I can't with that. I get 12 a day.
Yep.
My phone rang and dinged from text and mostly crap calls all day long when I was trying to work. And I think it sounds like what you were going through. I couldn't focus. I felt like a lunatic. I was going like this. What? I was looking at my phone like this. What? What do you want? Leave me alone.
Could you go back? Could you go back to 10 years ago, flip phone era?
You know, I don't know. I mean, my job requires I stay in touch, and I'm starting to hate it.
Yeah. Do you have email on your phone, work email on your phone?
Yeah, I have to.
Well, so do I, and that's why I took it off 2 years ago. That helped a little bit. So Kenny is unreachable after 2 o'clock.
Oh, I'm aware, Kenny.
Unless you send me a text.
I know you. But tell me, here's what confused me. Maybe you can clear this up for me. You said this morning in a text back to me, you said, "Oh my God, are you living in my head? I've had technology, stuff going on." But you referred to two things. One was your computer. Yeah. But the other was, did you say it was your water heater?
New water heater.
Wait, is that technology? Was there technology involved?
Not really. It's just part
another broken thing.
Anytime I have to do something that requires running to the store or the shop or wherever, it's not just one trip, it's 4.
I know.
And then another store and another store.
So did you find out that your water heater wasn't working because the water wasn't hot?
I want to start with computer
Okay.
because 2 months ago, the tech guys upstairs recommended that I get a new laptop. I had it in for some service, and they said, this thing is old and it's garbage. You need a new one. I said, no, I already feel that management goes out of their way to accommodate me when they probably shouldn't. So I don't want to spend their money. So I thought I'm going to be a soldier.
Wow.
And I'm going to stick with this old pile of crap. Well, lately it's been the blue screen of death every single day.
Oh, that's not
And
good.
it's always in the morning, and it's always right at the 45 mark, like just say 7:45 when I have a report at 8 a.m. Right? And it takes 20 minutes to rebuild.
So you can't.
So I go on the air doing a traffic report, knowing all the places that jam up every single day. So it's the most generic traffic report you could possibly imagine, right?
Just to compensate for the fact that your computer is
Still
literally
rebuilding. Yeah. So finally I contact Mike Weber, our engineer, and the IT guys, and they arrange for Bob, one of our main IT guys upstairs, to drop one off for me. He was in Alexandria, Monday and Tuesday, working on their equipment at our station in Alexandria.
Okay.
I went over there with my crappy old one. He started the process of moving all my garbage onto the new one. And just as an aside, the incredible patience that the IT people have, where's that come from?
Bob's the best.
I think they're psycho. Normal people.
Well, that's not a compliment.
No, listen. No, it is. Normal people are not that calm when everything F's up. He had to load a program 4 or 5 times, and every time it failed, he was like, well, that's odd. And he went back and did it again until it finally went through. I would have been insane with rage.
Right. Bob is very, very, very calm.
Very good.
calm. But you're right. How many people, after fully trying to install, I assume the operating system or an update or something, which is a lengthy process, would do it 4 times without killing someone?
I've figured it out. None of the guys in IT will say this. I think that they write their own paychecks. I think they have access to the company checkbook. And I think when it comes payday, they just write themselves whatever they feel is owed to them. And I think that's what makes them happy.
Right.
Because they know they're getting paid very well for this nonsense.
Yeah, maybe. I doubt that that's the way that corporate America or Hubbard Broadcasting works.
Well, that's how it works in my
I've
mind.
looked at a budget, so I'm pretty sure that's not. We don't hand out blank checks, but
So I get this thing home yesterday morning, and everything goes wrong. I have the wrong power cord, grab the wrong power cord.
Oh, God.
So I'm operating on battery power. I can't get one of the programs to work. It won't recognize my printer. I have a separate monitor. I've got the laptop right here.
yep. But you have
And
another.
then a big monitor right there. Won't recognize that because it's one of those old ones with 100 pins.
Oh,
and
right.
we don't do that anymore.
Right.
And then there's not enough USB plugs on the laptop, so I had to get what's called a docking station.
Oh, I know what you're talking. Yeah, I get it.
These two items not working well together. So after I'm done with Garage Logic, I go to Alec and I spend $125 on 2 power cords and a wireless mouse because I figured that will free up one of the USB plugs, right?
Sure.
Well, I bought the wrong kind. I bought the kind where you have to plug in a little transponder thing.
Don't you just?
On the way home, I get a call from home saying, hey, that new water heater that was installed this morning is leaking, and it's all over the floor. And I thought, well, this is going to be great. Well, I get home, and it's not a big deal. It's the hot water leaking, which once the water warms up, it rises, and one of the connections was loose. I tightened it up. It stopped it a little bit, but they're back again today. So that problem was solved. Then I went over here to my studio, got my power cords hooked up, got the computer working, went home. This morning, though, instead of doing my job, and I recognize you're my boss at my talk. I probably shouldn't tell you this.
Oh, well.
But I don't care, so I'm going to tell you anyway. Instead of doing my job and being hyper-focused on traffic, I was hyper-focused on my computer and emailing back and forth with Bob. And Bob, bless your heart, I'm so sorry about all the emails. And he finally got me the instructions I needed to get one of my programs working.
Okay.
And then I found... I got rid of the docking station, and then I found my printer, and I was able to print. but I still can't get this monitor working. So anyway, 8:30, my last report of the day. And Kyle, I hope you have this ready. My last report of the day at 8:24, I stop what I'm doing. I write a report. It's a legitimate report about what's going on. And I have my headphones hanging from this microphone. So I can hear the program, and I hear Jason throw it to break, and I hear the commercials, but it doesn't register that I've got a hit coming up here.
You're like, oh, that's nice for them.
And I'm super focused on whatever I'm super focused on, and I can hear through my headphones, Kenny! And it's Holly yelling at me off the air. And this is how it sounded. This is my music. This is no Kenny. Holly's yelling, Kenny! And then I come to the microphone. But she threw it to break.
Let's do some iTalk traffic here. Good morning.
Now we have two elements going.
I'm sorry, I was fighting with my computer.
Kenny and Holly,
Sponsor
and
here.
some kind of ad.
Okay, you know what? Here's what we're going to do, because we're talking live on the air, is that you're going to read your weather or traffic sponsor right over this bit of music, okay?
Wow.
All right, here we go.
So she plays a bumper music. I can't find the ad copy, our sponsor.
Oh my God.
And I'm looking and looking.
Kenny, this is so bad.
I can't find it.
Everything's gone wrong today.
Wow.
If we would have had traffic, we would have had a sponsor. That sponsor would have been YMCA of
I
the
found it.
North. It's very easy to make lifelong memories.
So I
of
read
life
it,
from
and we
programs
get
for
out.
Specific age groups,
Possibly
unique to
the
their
worst.
generational
We can
activities
kill
like
that now,
yoga.
Kyle.
Yeah.
Probably
We
the
get
worst.
it.
I mean, I've done some pretty horrible, really embarrassing things on the air that I'm still ashamed about. That one was really, really bad.
You know what, though? It really, honestly, listeners won't remember. I know you will, because I know you.
Well, like I was saying before off the air, the old Kenny, I would have carried this baggage around for a month.
Right.
So upset
At
with
least.
myself.
Could have been years.
It took me probably 5 seconds to get over this.
Good.
I was done being pissed off at myself right away. But what is
Wow.
it, Amy?
Wow.
Here's
That
here's
was
where
bad,
I'm at.
Kenny. That was so bad.
I hear about teenagers and youngsters becoming obsessed with the other sex, with a girl or with whoever.
Right.
I'm in love with this person. I can't get this person out of my mind. I can't think about anything else. And I've often thought that wouldn't happen to me, not now, because I don't care about any of that. But somehow my computer took over my brain and wouldn't let me focus on anything else. And I hate that about where I am and where we are right now with technology. And that's not even to bring up all the AI nonsense that I'm vehemently opposed to.
Well, and everything you're saying, I absolutely and utterly agree with. And you're right. I have, been embracive of technology, but you're right. I mean, just from everything you described from your
Yeah.
day, from the morning, the minute you got up in the morning, all throughout the entire day, all the
Yeah.
way into the next day,
Yeah.
car trips back, and all the stuff you were doing, I end up feeling like, is the snake starting to eat its tail?
I think so.
You know,
I think so.
Have we gotten to the point? It's just amazing that you and I are on the same exact beam right now.
Yeah, it
where
is.
I'm just like, oh my God. I mean, there was a time in this business where in order to edit something, a piece of audio, you would have a literal physical piece of tape.
Yeah.
Reel to
reel.
reel
Yep.
tape. And you would have a knife, and they called them a knife, but it was a razor blade.
Yep.
And a little wax pencil. And that's how you cut things up.
You mark it,
Yep.
cut it,
So
tape it.
Now you can do so much more. But I'll tell you, I was just down the hall before I stomped angrily down the hall to do this podcast. I was sitting there and I was like, the Wi-Fi was really slow. And none of these things, by the way, existed 15, 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So the Wi-Fi down there was really slow and intermittent. I couldn't get a hold of somebody in IT to come down and reset it. The new one isn't a router sitting there that you can reset yourself. It's up on the wall and I can't reach it. There's an FTP site. Didn't know what that was 10 years ago. There's an FTP site. I'm trying to get files I critically need to hit a deadline. I'm trying to get those to come down, but because the Wi-Fi is slow, a word I didn't hear 20 years ago, and the FTP site is going really slow, which crashed my Macintosh computer that was trying to pull the files down, and I'm going to miss my deadline. And I just was like, what? And my phone's going ding, ding, ding. And by the way, this is not anyone's fault who's trying to get a hold of me.
Yeah, it is.
But just
you're being too nice.
But just know, like, if you have a job where you don't work during the day, please don't send me random thoughts by text. Honestly, there was a ding, 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 ding. And I'm like, oh my God, is my house on fire?
Yeah.
So I pull myself away from desperately trying to get done what I had to get done by the deadline, because we're doing syndication, and that means there's affiliates involved. And if it's not up, they're going to get alarms and blah, blah, blah. So I'm sweating. I'm literally perspiring. And sweat is coming down my face. And then my phone's going ding, 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 ding. And that means 6 texts have come in. And I was like, oh my God, is my house on fire? What's going on? And I look at it, and it's somebody I know that was like, I was watching this thing last night, and I was just like, what a dumb show. And then that's one text. The next one was like, seriously. And then the third one was like, so dumb. And then the fourth one was, I mean, what do we have to do to get a decent show? And then the fifth one's like, I'm going to get rid of Netflix. And then the sixth, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Number one with technology, I know too much. I know stuff I don't want to know. And I'm sick of going to the Google for more knowledge. This point in life, I relish not knowing stuff and not going through the Google to find out.
I'm fine. I used to look at older people, and we all have, we're all a certain age, and there's always a generation or two that's ahead of us. And we always have these differences between what they were used to and what we're doing, and they don't want to learn our stuff.
Yeah.
And for a lot of our lives, I think it's been technology's been that, right?
Yep.
It's been digital music, digital photography, all these different things that older generations, boomers probably and beyond for sure, that are like, I don't care and I don't want to know. And I always would think, oh, what a Luddite. Come on.
Right.
Get with it.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Let the whole world pass you by?
Yeah. At one point, I was asking my son some really stupid questions, and just out of the blue, apropos of nothing, he goes, hey, by the way, have you heard of Uber and Lyft? And this is after Uber and Lyft had been around for, 10 years. But that was his way of mocking Dad for being, not
Way to
with
go,
it.
boomer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bob told me some things that actually reinforced my insane point of view. And I want to give you an example of how this is happening out in the real world. It's not just radio geeks and technology, stuff like this. This is happening everywhere. And we'll do it right after this. So if you ride a motorcycle or a sled, four-wheeler, side-by-side, you've got a really good friend in Dennis Kirk. Actually, it's DennisKirk.com, and they are the best and easiest way to shop for parts or accessories for your bike, your sled, your side-by-side, whatever. They've been around since 1969. They have over, listen closely, 185,000 parts and accessories in stock. I have been to their place. I took a tour. You wouldn't believe it. It is so cool. You're not going to find a bigger selection of fitment parts for such a wide variety of machines anywhere on the planet. I've ordered parts for 20-year-old machines and 2-year-old machines. If the part exists, DennisKirk.com has it in stock. Plus, I love telling people about this. They have the world's best gas cans in stock. Today's gas cans suck. Forget about them. Look up VP gas cans and be sure to order the hose kit with it. I own 9 of these things. They're just the best in the world. You will love them. Before you go anywhere else, check out Dennis Kirk. Plus, you get same-day shipping on orders placed before 6 p.m. And even better, orders over $89, they ship free. Don't worry about fitment on clothing items or helmets. All customers of DennisKirk.com get free returns. Check them out, DennisKirk.com. So, Amy, Bob and I are... Oh, my phone just dinged. Did you hear it?
Yeah,
How
I
apropos.
did.
How
I did.
absolutely apropos.
And do you reflexively I know other people who do this. Reflexively, my first instinct is to go, what?
I just looked it up. It's actually good news. My water heater guy put a new line on, so hopefully my leak is gone.
Great.
So I'm sitting at, it's Kick FM over in Alexandria.
Oh, sure.
A country radio powerhouse in this area.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they really bill well. And I'm sitting there and we're waiting for Bob to do this stuff. And I said, so Bob, maybe you used the word Luddite. I don't use the cloud at all because I don't trust it. And Bob, much to my surprise, goes, yeah, neither do I.
Oh, God. No.
And I'm like, oh, really? And I said, why? And Bob said, well, the cloud is just some guy's computer.
Right.
It's like, all right. That justifies one insane trait about me.
Right. It's really not something floating above our heads.
Right.
It's actually a server
Right.
somewhere.
So I thought, wow, I'm making headway here. So I'm going to push my luck. My iPhone is an iPhone 8, which I understand they were made in the 50s.
Yeah, long time ago.
And it's got a cracked screen. It's a piece of junk. And this thing, when I'm on phone calls, it cuts off and it says SOS only. I have no bars. And it stays that way for about 30 seconds to a minute. So you have to call the person back. I told Bob about that. And I said, it's my theory that they're doing this on purpose to convince me to buy a new phone. Bob says, yep, absolutely.
Well, that's all depressing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
And
know,
I wish go ahead.
That's really sad because it confirms all of our darkest suspicions from a guy who knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
If you just came in here and told me, you know what's going on, I would go, okay, kooky conspiracy
yeah.
theory,
Right.
Yeah. Fester, got
Right.
it.
Right.
But
Right.
that Bob says it, and Bob's the most mild-mannered, sweetest guy in the world, patient, smart.
He goes on to tell me,
Oh, God.
I don't do any. Oh, no, I quoted Teresa in our credit union who told me one time a few years ago, don't buy anything with your phone using your credit union account. Use your main big credit card so you don't get any money robbed for you. Well, I don't take people's advice, so I've never done that. And I told Bob this. Bob says, I never buy anything with my phone. I thought, really? I said, well, I do. I have 2 bank accounts and I do online banking with my phone. He goes, I never do online banking with my phone.
What does he do? Why? What's his reason?
Because he's smart.
I mean, is it a security issue or what?
It's
is
got to
it?
be. I was so stunned. I didn't take it any further.
Well, what's really, I don't know if there was this movie, and I'm not going to remember the name, but Julia Roberts was in it. It was about 6 to 9 months ago. And it's a streaming movie, but it was basically about the fact that the world, what would happen if technology all went haywire?
Oh, yeah.
And what ended up happening was like this giant like cruise ship like beached. And because its navigation system went haywire, there is a great scene. I mean, great if it's not horrifying, that there was just tons and tons and tons of white, these happen to be white Teslas that were driving themselves into a wall.
Yeah.
And there's piles and piles of them. And this girl, just long story short, and I hope you can't recognize it from my description because it's horrible, but in the movie, there's a girl that kind of barricades herself in a house because the whole world's going crazy. And all she has are DVDs, not streaming, because that wouldn't work anymore anyway.
No.
She's got DVDs of all the seasons of Friends.
Oh.
And she locks herself in this basement, and just her joy is to have old school technology and watch Friends.
I'm going to have to watch this movie because it reinforces my belief, but my belief takes it way further. And that is that we are attacked not with missiles and bombs, but with an electronic pulse that kills the entire electricity grid. Now think about that. If we don't have electricity, our furnaces don't work, gas pumps don't work, nothing works, our bank accounts don't work. You probably can't get into a safe at a bank, right?
Well,
life actually stops when we lose electricity.
I'm sorry, Kenny. Anybody who, recently, if anybody had, excuse me, their power go out during the storms that we had, or any storms we've had in the last few years, you really do recognize, different than this, where we're going to sound old, different than when you and I were kids. The thing because we had landlines. And by and large, if I remember, they still worked, right? Unless they were a walk-around phone that was...
No, they worked, yeah.
Yeah, the phone worked. So you had phones, and you would take a flashlight or a candle out, and you didn't have television because there was no power, but that was about it. Yeah. Nowadays, there literally is nothing in your house that will
So I've made plans. I have in storage an old ornate pot-bellied stove, and that's going to go into something, either my RV camper or this house that I'm broadcasting from, and we're just going to go from there. And, we'll use the LP we have for lights, et cetera, but when the LP runs out, we're going to be making candles.
Right.
And we're going to be cooking over the stove.
Wow, I didn't realize this conversation was going to be this depressing.
I live with this all the time. I think about
Kenny,
this all the time.
is this what's in your head?
Yeah, all the time.
Oh, no wonder you're sad.
So you're talking about the phones and technology and where it's taken us. The farmers now, in the old days, and I'm talking 10 years ago,
I guess,
when a combine or a tractor broke down in the field, they would pull it into their yard, they would tear it apart, the farmer, and fix it himself. Go to the John Deere shop, buy whatever parts, put them in himself. They can't do that anymore because all of these machines are computer based, and John Deere has decided, and it's not just John Deere, it's Case and everybody else, that their computer stuff is proprietary, and they don't allow the farmers to work on their own machines if it's technological or computer based.
Then they have to have like a rep come out from the company?
So they've got to have a guy either come out to the farm, go out in the field at great cost, or they have to somehow figure out how to get that dead machine on the back of a flatbed semi and drag it into the shop. Mind you, this is happening at the most critical time when they have to, their combine.
Get a crop in.
Crops are coming in. It's going to rain in 8 hours. We got to get this 80 acres done. Yeah. And that's where we're at. And that's where we're at with cars now. For the most part, the shade tree, knucklehead, do-it-yourselfer like me, about all I can do is change oil in the air filter, and that's it.
It's funny you should say that, Kenny, because I remember my mom, before she died, she had a car. It was a Lexus sedan or something.
Yeah, good rig.
Yeah, and the battery kept draining. And so we would bring it to the shop, and, we either got the battery replaced or whatever. But it happened a couple times. Excuse me, because she didn't drive it that much. So I said to the mechanic at the time, because I was helping her, I said, what are we doing wrong? Do we need to do something different? Well, this is like the third battery.
Yeah.
And the mechanic goes, here's the deal. What happens is these days, and this was never the case. You know this way better than I do, Kenny. This was never the case back in the olden days. But because cars are so sophisticated now, he was telling me there are I don't know, some unbelievable number, 23,000 computer processes going on in the background 24/7 that requires electricity.
Yeah, when it's parked in the garage.
And so it drains the battery over time because of all that stuff that's going on. And there's no way to shut it off. It just is.
Yep.
And so we just ended up having to replace batteries so that our car could be parked. Yeah. We had to power the park.
Isn't that amazing?
Isn't that nuts?
And we haven't even delved into the quality of the goods that we deal with now. About 10, 15 years ago, something was acting up with our washing machine. We had a service guy over, and we were going to buy a brand new washing machine. And this guy said, whatever you do, don't buy an old washing machine. Let me put this $100 part in it, and it'll run for another 10 years. He goes, the new washing machines, the one you were going to buy, is absolute garbage, and it's built to break within 5 years. I've also heard that about garage door openers. And the same thing was said to me. I had some old ancient Craftsman POS hanging from the ceiling in Minneapolis. And I actually went out and bought a new one, and I was going to have my garage guy put it in. He goes, return that thing. I'm fixing this thing. You'll thank me later. And he was right.
Really? Because they're just made cheaply, I imagine.
Yeah, they're made to break.
I want to tell you a story that's going to, I think, impress you because of who you are.
Yeah.
Having to do with my lawnmower.
Oh, you have a new electric, it's battery powered.
It's battery powered.
Which, by the way, you would think I would hate it, but I love that concept. Go ahead.
Should we take a break,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
come back and I'll
Yeah,
tell you.
Yep.
Okay, Kenny, you are the one person, we're back. You were the one person that I couldn't wait to tell about this
Yeah.
because you and I have talked about, you live in the middle of nowhere. You live, it's like 17 hours north of the Twin Cities.
Yeah,
in the
something
middle
like
of
that.
nowhere. You've got
Right,
like a
yep.
pole barn, right?
Yeah, oh,
And
yeah,
you've
I've
got
got a
like
number of-
machinery
Yep.
and like,
Yep.
what do you have? Do you have a front end loader?
Couple of tractors.
Tractors,
yeah,
motorcycles?
A bunch of boats, motorcycle, four-wheelers.
Did you just say a bunch of boats?
Yeah, a whole lot of boats, actually.
How is that? Why? Why do you have multiple boats?
That's not that, Amy. That's a dumb question. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's a dumb question.
No, but see, for normal people, it's not. You have how many boats? How many boats do you have? Just count them quick.
I can't. A dozen.
What? Shut up!
Duck boats, fishing boats,
has-
vintage boats,
Okay,
wood boats,
That's
pontoon.
not normal. That's not normal.
About a half a dozen snowmobiles.
What?
Four-wheeler, side by side.
Okay.
Yeah, I love. The point is, I
Wow.
love fossil fueled machinery. That's my
Wow.
life. I love it. I love it. Any kind of machine, put me on it. Let me drive it. I'm happy.
I so love that I have known you this long and didn't know you had 12 boats. I learned something today.
I'll go take a video of them after.
It's unbelievable. So I decided, and we've talked about it before, I decided to get a battery-powered lawnmower.
Yeah.
Because I don't, as you and I have talked about, small engines and stuff. I don't know and I don't want to know.
Right.
I don't want to deal with spark plugs or filters or oil or gas or any of that.
Yep.
So I got this electric lawnmower. I love it. I keep saying the word literally. I take
that
the
drives
battery.
me crazy.
I know, it's literally annoying. I take the battery and I put it on the charger. When I'm ready to mow, I take it off the charger. I insert it into the battery chamber, shut the lid. I mow the lawn. I take it off. I put it back in the charger. It's
I see
the
a
best.
mistake.
Plus, okay, just hang on to it. So I can also like mow at like 8:30 in the morning because it's not loud.
It's quiet, very quiet.
It's not loud.
Yeah.
So, what's my mistake? What?
I've always been told run the batteries dry. It's much better for the batteries.
Whatever. God, Kenny,
I hate when you bring the man.
Why are you a ruiner? You're a ruiner.
Why am I mansplaining?
Why are you a ruiner?
I hate mansplaining.
God, you
I just did it.
mansplainer.
I'm sorry. Let's get back to the
Okay,
problem.
so anyway, let's talk about my proud moment.
Yeah.
Okay, so last week I'm mowing my lawn. It's not a big lawn, it's a small lawn. But the people that had the house before me, don't even ask because I don't understand it. I'm just going to tell you what I found. They had these weird gardens in the middle of the yard, but they kind of disrupt the flow for the dog and everything. They're just these weird wildflower gardens with jaggedy limestone borders. And so I've been slowly dismantling them.
Good.
Because the flowers look like weeds. I can't tell the difference.
Thank you.
And the limestone it's all the stuff that's everywhere in Stillwater where I live, limestone cliffs everywhere.
Yep.
But as borders, it's kind of ugly.
Right.
So I've been just little by little getting rid of it. I live on a cliff. My apologies for my cliff neighbors. I just throw the rocks down the cliff.
God, oh my God.
It's
Thank
okay.
you.
There's
Awesome.
there's a road below, but don't worry about it. It's fine.
That's our equivalent.
Yeah,
is
it's
we
fine.
drag it out to the woods.
Yeah,
just
there you
drag
go.
it out.
Yeah, I just push it over the cliff. Whatever it is, it just goes over the cliff. So, so there's this raised wildflower garden that I've slowly disassembled over like the last year and a half. But it's like a raised garden. I assumed there was mounds of dirt. I live underneath my lawn. I'm sorry, this is so long. Underneath my lawn is only about 3 or 4, probably 4 inches of dirt. And then I'm on bedrock.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So I can't like have a fence put in without dynamite or a jackhammer.
Wow.
And so I assumed the raised gardens were because they brought in dirt and raised them, right?
Sure.
So I go, but over time they've eroded a little bit and I want to plow them under anyway and just put grass over it.
Yeah.
So right now there's grass growing on top. So I took my little electric mower, it's not little, it's a full-size mower, to go over and just take that grass down a little bit.
Yep.
Well, I find out while I'm doing that, the way they raised the bed on those wildflowers,
Oh, no. They put debris underneath, didn't they?
patio seat cushions.
Oh, well,
There's
at least
like
it wasn't
12
rocks.
patio seat cushions, one of which my mower grabbed
Yeah.
and chewed up and
Yep.
threw into the yard, and then my
Yep.
mower was messed up.
Yep.
I mean, something went wrong and it wouldn't cut anymore.
Did you tip it over and clean out the underside of the deck?
I'm going to impress you so much right now.
Okay, I'm
Basically, you're going to want to marry me.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay,
I'm ready.
so the week before that, I had already changed the blades,
Nice.
put fresh mulching blades on it.
Good.
But then this happened. So I flipped the mower over and looked at it, and I was like, what is going on? So I thought, well, I mean, here's the problem with electric stuff. I don't even know where to take it.
Right.
Who fixes it? I'm sure there are people.
I don't know.
But I don't, off the top of my head, I was like, where would you take it?
Right.
So, I mean, if it was a small engine, there are small engine repair places, right?
Yeah.
So I flipped it over and I saw the blade there. You really couldn't see anything that was apparent. I thought, oh gosh, I hope the motor didn't burn out. But I ended up I walked away for like 2 days because it was just overwhelming. I was like, I don't want to take apart.
Boy, do I understand that.
I was just like, I got to go. I
yeah.
can't deal with this right
No,
now.
that's everybody.
Yeah. So 2 days later, I came back, which was last night. I flipped it over. I took the blades back off, which requires some sockets. I got a socket set.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Took the blades off, took the cowling from the blades, all that stuff off. And I look beneath it, and there's this hard, I'm going to call it plastic, but I'm sure it's something not quite plastic, that I can see has been sheared. Part of it has been sheared off.
Yeah.
In that cushion went in there, and there's supposed to be this really nice hole in the middle that's
Right.
now very oblong and clearly misshapen.
Yeah.
And that's why it felt like the blades were like floating around underneath there.
No.
And I was like, well, here's where I used one piece of technology, took a picture of it, did a picture search. It told me what the part was called, what the number was, and where I could get it. I went to Amazon. Don't love that, but I went to Amazon, ordered it, and it will be here tomorrow. I will put it back on, and I will have fixed my electric mower by myself.
Amy, that negates all the bitching we've just done. That's why
Right?
we can never, ever go back right there.
No.
I've done that same thing. But
Right?
that's it.
Where would you get that part? Where would you find a part, a teeny little tiny part, without going to the small engine repair place back in 1992?
Yeah.
Where would you get a small little part you needed? They are the only guys that would have it, an authorized dealer, right? But now I can order it.
Comes right there. You can put it
It'll
right
come
in.
tomorrow. I will put it in. My mower will be fine.
There's been so many scenarios where I faced something confusing that I didn't know what to do about in the shop. And I would sit down and I'd think, what would my grandpa do? Because he was a backyard mechanical genius.
Sure.
And I'd be sitting there trying to figure it out. One of my nephews would stroll into my shop and go, hey, what's up? And I'd tell him, and he'd go right to his phone, and he would give me the answer within 30 seconds.
Right?
After I'm sitting there looking at it, trying to figure out what Grandpa would do.
It's kind of crazy because if your grandpa was here now, it would be interesting to see if he would find that useful.
I think they would.
Right?
I think the old timers do find that useful. It's getting them. It's first of all reminding them
Right.
that it's there for your use, and then getting them to use it and proving to them that it's worth it.
There was one little additional short story. I have a child named Max who
Cool kid.
a really cool kid, and he just does his own thing, and one of the things he likes to do is sew. And he'll make
what a great thing to do.
He'll sew everything from like leather wristbands.
I was
to,
just going to say leather. My kid does leather too.
A lot of leather stuff.
Yeah.
And like even like the stud type things that you can like, whatever, the rivets and all that stuff. So he was using he had gone to Goodwill and found like I swear I used it in home ec class, a 1975 Singer something. Old Singer sewing machine.
Yeah.
Nowadays they're electronic and they've got buttons and
Right.
all the computer stuff. This was just like an old school dial on the front kind of Singer thing.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't work. And one day he's sitting there and he took it apart, an old sewing machine, which I would never dare do. He took this old sewing machine apart and realized it was this one tiny specialized little piece.
It was worn out or something.
You know what's weird? He
Yeah.
lived at the time, he doesn't anymore, in Richfield on 66th and Penn. He looked across the street out his window, and there is a sewing machine parts and repair shop.
I know exactly where that is.
It might be the only one left in the state of Minnesota. And he was like, wow. So he grabbed the part that was broken. He went across the street, and they found a part for a 1974 Singer sewing machine that he then brought back across the street and fixed.
I wonder how that business does.
Oh, or
'Cause like you
typewriter
said,
repair. There's one over in Richfield, one of those too. Typewriters.
Those businesses have to do good, don't they?
You would imagine, and they've got a monopoly now.
Yeah.
I mean, if your typewriter, any kind of typewriter didn't work, where would you take it?
And then you put that business on the internet, and then the next thing you know, you're taking orders from all over the world.
There's a company called Retrospect. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they refurbish, and Max also has a bunch of old Sony Walkmans.
Yeah.
He's refurbished. This company refurbishes them. So a Sony Walkman back in the day probably cost, I don't know, $40 back in the day.
Yeah, 40 to 80.
They sell for about $500 now.
Shut up.
And this company, Retrospect, that's all they do is they bring.
You
they
shut
do,
your dirty
you
pirate
shut
mouth.
up. They
Really?
They do Walkmans. They do like vinyl record players. They do all this old tech. And you can go online. It's spelled Retrospect with a K, I think. And they sell all that stuff, and the prices are unbelievably high.
I know the record players are. Yeah. That's a big thing.
Especially
right
the
now.
old ones. You can get a new one. But if you go back to the old like Klipsch or some of those old Harman Kardon or any of those, they're expensive.
They're very much so.
$800-900 to
There's a
thousands.
record store in South Minneapolis. I believe it's 68th and Portland, No Name Records.
Yeah.
And I know those guys, and they've started selling old receivers and turntables and tape deck. And the prices are stout.
I bet. Remember back in the day, having giant speakers was what you wanted.
Yeah.
Not little ones.
Yeah.
You wanted the biggest possible speakers you could find.
And now these little tiny computer speakers that I have along with the subwoofer are way better than anything I've ever owned.
I know.
And they're so small.
Look what we did, Kenny. The Crabby Coffee Shop is where we come to talk and gripe and bitch about things. And we started that way. But look, we're back in a sunny, happy place.
One more thing. I want to apologize to all the drivers that I've been angry at for years because they're going down the freeway and then all of a sudden they randomly slow down behind a semi instead of pulling out in front of me and passing. And then they pass me and then they do it again. So I end up passing them 4 times. I thought these people were complete idiots and morons that didn't know how to drive. I get in my mom's new, it's a Toyota something. I don't know what it is, but it's a really nice fancy car. And I'm driving her and I got the cruise control set and I'm set at, 75. All of a sudden I'm doing 64. The car slows you down when it sees a vehicle in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't fight that technology. I could not figure out how to turn that off.
You can turn it off.
I know there's a way, but I didn't.
But you couldn't figure it out.
I don't have I need Bob because I don't have
We're back
the
to
patience.
Bob.
So all of you people that I secretly gave the finger to under the window, you didn't see it, but I was really angry at you.
You couldn't
I
help
apologize.
it. You couldn't help it.
Do you feel better?
I do, actually.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to go back and fight the fight outside.
Good luck, Amy.
Yeah, thanks.
And thanks for being here. I really, really love doing this show with you.
It's fun. It's
Yeah,
fun. I
all right.
love you, boo-boo.
Thanks for listening, y'all. We'll hopefully be back next week.